The war in Afghanistan. Americans' involvement in the Afghan war began in 2001 and continues today. President Obama has a plan to withdraw our troops from Afghanistan that he shared with the country over the Memorial Day weekend. Our involvement followed the terrorist attack of September 11, 2001. U.S. President George W. Bush demanded that the Taliban hand over Osama bin Laden and kick Al Qaeda out of the country. The Taliban requested bin Laden to leave the country but would not hand him over to us without evidence of his involvement in the 9/11 attack. The United States refused to negotiate and decided to attack. It has become our longest war. We have lost 2,178 servicemen in this war, and we have spent over $7 billion on the war. We have been joined in Afghanistan by our British, French, Italian, Canadian, and Turkish allies, as well as others. It is important for them to get rid of Al Qaeda also because they also are possible terrorist targets. Because 9/11 seems long ago now, and because the war has been going on for so long, most Americans believe that it is time for us to get out of the war. We were able to kill bin Laden on May 2nd, 2011, so the reasons to be there no longer exist. Bush finally got what he wanted. What is the definition of the Patriot Act? The U.S. Patriot Act is an act of Congress that was signed into law by President George W. Bush on October 26, 2001. The title of the act is a 10-letter backronym USA Patriot that stands for Uniting and Strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism Act of 2001. What that means is Congress has passed a law to try to stop terrorist attacks. It made a lot of changes to the U.S. law. Many people are against the Patriot Act because it gives the government the right to take away some of our civil rights. The government can tap your phones if you are investigated for being a terrorist. They can look at internet messages that you think are private. They can watch us even if we are not being accused of being a terrorist. The time after 9/11 was really scary, and it made sense to have a law meant to keep us safe, but many people feel it has gone too far. However, it has done some good. We had not had any attacks on American soil since 9/11 until the Boston Marathon bombing. The Act provides money for victims of terrorist attacks and their families. It allows federal agents to use tools that police officers have been using for decades. The Occupy movement. This movement is worldwide. It was inspired by the Arab Spring and the Spanish Indigenous and the American Tea Party movement. It is concerned that large corporations make too much money, making their small number of executives very rich while doing nothing for the majority of the people. Because of this, the movement uses the slogan, "We are the 99%." The first protest that people paid attention to was Occupy Wall Street on September 17, 2011, but the protest went on for a while. It spread to over 600 communities in the U.S. alone. The people camped in parks, made signs and t-shirts, and were generally peaceful, protesting the benefits the corporations were keeping for themselves. The protest finally ended in February 2012. However, the Tea Party has used the focus of the Occupy movement as the base for their candidates to run for leadership positions in all levels of government. The movement organizes through websites such as Occupy Together and social media using hashtag Occupy. O.J. Simpson was a football player and actor. He was the first professional football player to rush for 2,000 yards. He set that record in 1973. Other players have passed him, but he was the only one who did it in a 14-game season. He was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1985 after he retired from playing. He was a successful broadcaster. He later became an actor as well. In 1994, he was accused of killing his wife Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. He was accused of stabbing them. He actually kept the knife and is now trying to sell it for $5 million. He was found not guilty in 1995. At that time, they said the murder weapon was never found. One of the most dramatic moments in the trial was when he was asked to put a bloody glove on found at the crime scene. The defense lawyer made the statement, "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." The glove was too small and OJ was found not guilty. Later, OJ was found guilty of wrongful death by a civil court. Ron Goldman was a friend of Nicole Brown. He was a waiter. Nicole had eaten at his restaurant and had left her glasses on the table, and he had agreed to drop them off at her house. There was some speculation that he and Nicole were having an affair. Nicole Brown married OJ on February 2nd, 1985. They had 2 children together. During their marriage, OJ pled no contest to spousal abuse. Nicole filed for divorce on February 25th, 1992. Her murder, along with Goldman, led to the trial of the century. While OJ was found innocent, he is currently in prison for armed robbery in a hotel room in Las Vegas, which occurred in 2008. Tea Party. The Tea Party took its name from the Boston Tea Party of 1773, and they often send tea bags to legislators as a symbolic act to remind them of the time when the colonists thought government were being unfair. The Tea Party movement has sponsored protests and supported political candidates since 2009. Most people view them as being an ultra-conservative wing of Republican Party. While they are considered Republicans, they are also considered to have libertarians and populist beliefs. In general, they support a reduction of government spendings and taxes, a reduction of the U.S. debt, and a reduction of many of the welfare and social support services that federal governments fund. Currently, there are 46 Tea Party Republican members of the House of Representatives. There are also 5 senators who belong to the Tea Party. The Tea Party is trying to keep its momentum in the 2014 elections. The best chance of the Tea Party winning a primary this year appears to be in Mississippi for the state legislature. Other victories could come to Senate seats in Georgia, Idaho, and North Carolina. Time will tell whether the Tea Party continues to be a strong influence in our Congress.